Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Blue-Black Kaito Control with Kaito, Bane of Nightmares, as our main win condition, and we have a powerful new creature, Mockingbird, in our deck. Mockingbird costs 1 blue mana and X, and it comes in as a 1/1 flying creature at the base case if you just pay 1 blue mana, but you can also have it copy any creature already on the table, which if your opponent has a Bowmaster, okay, then my Mockingbird becomes a Bowmaster, and I'm going to ping your Bowmaster, and I now have Bowmaster supremacy. Your opponent doesn't have a Bowmaster, okay, well, I'm just going to cantrip and draw a card off of Baleful Strix and have a Baleful Strix in play. So it seems pretty powerful. It pitches to force. It doesn't get stopped by Chalice. I mean, the good things about it, like it could potentially copy an opponent's Pyroglyph or something like that. It seems like it has a lot of upside potential. And the base case of just being a 1/1 creature for 1 blue mana that can potentially attack with evasion and get a Kaito into play seems good enough. So this deck is a control deck. We're not playing Days, except we're playing 1 Days because I love the cheeky Days. We are playing 4 Wastelands because, in my humble opinion, you should be playing Wasteland. We're a 2-color deck. We can afford to play 4 Wastelands and 19 lands. We still have 14 initial blue sources to kick off our cantrips and search for additional lands or to get an early Tamio in on the table. So I feel like it's totally fine to just do this, and what we're doing instead, so we have sufficient disruption, is we're just playing 4 Thoughtseize. So almost everything in our deck is a 2-drop or higher, other than Tamio. So a lot of times we are just going to be able to open with a Thoughtseize, and it's not a huge tempo loss. And we will want to get up to 3 mana eventually, so we can get Kaito, and Days does kind of slow down that process. So one of the things I've observed recently, just playing a lot of leagues, is that Thoughtseize is really good right now. Days is okay right now. It's not as fast as a format as it used to be. Sideboard-wise, we've got the anti-Eldrazi tech, 4 Consigns. We've got 2 Harbinger of the Seas, so that's 6 dedicated anti-Eldrazi cards. For a combo, we have 2 Force of Negations. I usually only play 1. I don't really like this card, but I feel like if we're not going to be playing Days, we do want a little bit of additional turn 0 interaction. We have 3 Hydroblasts. We have a Dismember. This is a really good 5th removal spell in case we go up against Troll of Khazad-dûm decks or Triumph of St. Catherine decks. And then we have a Torok Dread Cantor. This is in case we get paired against any white deck. Torok is awesome, and I'm hoping to resolve this. And of course, he works really well with Kaito because you can potentially put him back in your hand and kicker him a second time, which just decimates your opponent's hand. We also have the 2 Grafdigger's Cage, and it's worth noting that we have 2 main deck Nile Spellbound. We have a heavy bias towards stopping graveyard decks because those are the dominant decks right now. As always, we're going to play a full 5 rounds. Leave comments with timestamps if you have feedback on my play. See you in round 1. Round 1. We're up against Asian Hybrid. Never played against them before. I think I'd remember that name. We have a really disruptive hand. I am going to snap keep this. They've already mulliganed. All right, they wish us luck, and they keep 6. Open Flow Strand. Volk. Please play a Delver. DRC. Okay, yeah. We can deal with that. I'm not going to force that. Lots of Bowmasters here. I think the safe thing is to just Surveil. I don't really want to Thoughtseize at all. I'd like to put the Thoughtseize back. Thoughtseize potentially puts another card type in their graveyard and it does damage to us, and our life total is at a premium. These Thoughtseize will be boarded out. This is one of the few matchups where you most definitely board out Thoughtseize. I'm going to let that Ponder resolve. I am a little bit worried that they're going to be able to get Delirium. Let's see whether they actually milled a land. Okay, so still 2 away from Delirium after this Ponder goes to the yard. I will force a Daze on my Bowmaster. I need to get this off the table. All right. I am going to Surveil end step since they didn't play a Wasteland. And I am going to attempt to Bowmaster this. I think that's better than Strixing here. Surveil. We don't use our graveyard for anything in this deck, literally, except for Tamio when she's flipped. I think actually that's a perfect draw here. They probably won't expect it. Well, I mean, they should expect it, actually. Maybe we should have put that in the yard just to give them the fear. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and attempt to poke. If they have double Days, it's such a blowout. There's their Days. I'll let that trigger resolve first. Then I'm going to force. I definitely want to keep the Strix as like a last ditch kind of thing that I can deploy here. They are still pretty far from Delirium. Do I pitch the Borrower or do I pitch the Daze here? I'm trying to think of what they might try to go for like a Brainstorm or something, and then I could just Daze the Daze. Yeah, I'm going to trust in my Strix's ability to deter a Murktide here. Oh, wow, we're in. That was so worth it if this resolves. No, no! They've got more game actions. They could potentially get a, something in the yard here. Okay, so that Bolt is going to resolve. And they're just desperately trying to find an artifact or they found a creature to put in there. No! All right, well, they didn't stop the Bowmaster itself. But yeah, Bowmaster's just going to ping them now. There's no point in pinging. Yeah, man, that was just a show of how powerful DRC is. Like, it protects itself so well. It's not even funny. Yeah, I'm going to keep this Daze. Just, I wouldn't be surprised if they waste me here. Because they have the initiative here. Okay, they're not wasting me. That's the known Volk coming down. Preordain. Yeah, sure. If you want to just grow my army. I love when my Delver opponents play bad cantrips against my 4 Orcish Bowmaster deck. They milled a Wasteland. Interesting. So they don't seem to think that Wastelanding me is useful, but it actually would be really good. Right? Hopefully, they still have 7 cantrips in their deck. Hopefully this Bowmaster can cramp their style at least a little bit. I doubt we'll be able to race. Land would be a great rip. All right, that's a great rip. I'm just going to go ahead and attempt to do this now. I can't. Yeah, I'm going to do this. If we waste here, then we can potentially Daze the Merc. Again, this Daze is not what our deck does. I put it in as a one-of just because we were already playing the Wastelands. And the Wastelands are not out of respect for decks like Delver. They're out of respect for Urza Saga decks. And, if you go up against lands itself, sometimes you need to be able to get rid of like Thespian Stage or, Cavern of Souls is a deck that's a card that's everywhere right now. Okay, that's great. So we got in with our Strix. They're going to go ahead and attempt to Bolt now. So you can have your Surveil, and then I'm going to Daze this Bolt because I need this around to deal with your DRC. We draw. They could have another land. It could be a mistake to waste them. We don't really have anything to do with the mana, but we can guarantee our Orcish Bowmaster next turn. I think I'm just going to take the more defensive stance here. This Brainstorm puts away the Thoughtseize. If they just have Merc as like their last card, it's so backbreaking. I don't have an immediate answer to it because I have to block this. Yeah, maybe this may be a punt, but I'm going to try for it. Straining them on one land. They've used 2 of their bolts. They may have Chain Lightning. All right, come right into the arms of my poisonous owl. Yes, enjoy the embrace. So sweet. That 2-for-1 was so sweet. Okay, and they have a Trop. All right, they're murking. They are murking here. We're going to have to brainstorm into an answer. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. But if we can find a freaking... Oh, this Strix would be so sweet. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry, opponent. Do they have the Daze? Oh, they have the Daze. No. Okay, my voice. All right. Oh, man. So devastating. Yeah, we can't even attack. This is so devastating. My goodness. We're probably going to die now. They can swing, and then they have, we'll be within bolt range for the rest of the game. Gosh. I don't think there was anything else we could have done there. I'll brainstorm, but I need to find a land and another Strix, and we're still dead to Bolt. Watch Bolt be the last card in their hand. Blue, okay. Yeah, that's another thing we have to deal with. We bounce this back, and it doesn't even buy us a turn, which is we're probably going to die from this. I mean, it may not flip. If we had more mana, we could bounce it, and we could Thoughtseize it out of their hand. Let's see, they're going to recast it. It'll be tiny, but it'll be big enough. Yeah, we have to do this. It's a force play. I can't risk brainstorming and whiffing. We just have to get it off the table for a turn. We can chump for a turn if we need to. I'm going to come in with the Orc because I would happily trade. Oh, wait. Probably need to hold that back just in case they do attack. I am going to hit attack with this army, though. So if this flips, we're dead. But if it doesn't flip, we've got a chance. an extremely small chance. I think we're like maybe 2 or 3% to win. Flip bowls here. They didn't flip. Okay, well, I'll happily trade here. They come in for a hug. Mark. Oh, okay. I think that also pretty much seals the deal. Because now they can mark, and there's no way we're going to be able to cast this out. Let's just go to the next game. Heartbreak. Yeah, the Daze was so good on their side of the table. They dazed 2 really critical spells, and then I had to burn my force on the first one, and the second daze just absolutely backbreaking. I mean, I consider ourselves lucky to have gotten the Strix off the way we did, but you can see why you don't want to Thoughtseize there. Like, you could argue, well, if Thoughtseize would have potentially dodged the thing, but like, we were making efficient use of our mana the entire way. I think Harbinger does come in this matchup. Maybe just 1. 1, 2, 3. These definitely come in. We showed the Daze. Daze is even worse on the draw. Or wait, we're on the play. Did we bring it in? They may respect it even if we don't. I'd rather have the second Harbinger just because it is like being able to shut them off red is really strong. I mean, we've already got enough 3-drops in our deck. It's hard enough to get up there. Maybe I'm keeping that. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to bring in Dismember, but that is another hurtful thing. Yeah, I'll just bring in the Harbinger. We're going to just try to like be very, we're not going to waste them at all this game. I think, let's see, had I not wasted them, we would have had 2 mana. We would have potentially drawn something that we could use to cast the Borrower and have a second turn. Yeah, I think it was probably a mistake to waste them. So, yeah. All right, our deck is basically custom built to beat Delver. Not exactly, because you'd want to have like the best deck to beat Delver is probably, Delver, because you have bolts for their creatures, and you have Pyroblast and stuff like that. Pyroblast is so good against Delver. All right, just like the deck that beat Painter is Painter. Like, I can think of no deck that's better prepared to beat Painter than Painter. Okay, this is lots of land. I like this. We can get both basics. We can open with a Tamio and distract them. I like that. Yeah, I mean, the main thing is just getting our mana under us. Brazen Borrower is an answer to an early flip Delver. All right, let's go get our island and Tamio before. And again, if she dies, it's not a big deal. We'll hopefully draw other creatures that can be used with Kaito, but I'm not going to wait around, and I'm not going to fetch any duels here. Best case scenario is they ignore her, and then we're able to get in an attack. There we go. And we could have like done the brainstorm trick and everything, but we'll see. Okay, now we're drawing more land. We need a threat. I think we could probably put away the Wasteland. We have so many lands and they didn't do anything. Maybe it is worth just taking a turn to waste them, but that could be folly. Because I was just saying how wasting them is usually a mistake. It's not like we're advancing our game plan any by wasting them. Yeah, I'm just going to play this out and pass. We can brainstorm into a Surveil land and just get maximum selection, but we would want to grab the swamp. Wow, they may be on 1 land, in which case I am going to waste them. I'll let that resolve. They're on 1 land. Okay, so I'm going to waste them. Do I want to wait if that's the case? I probably want to put this Underground Sea away. We're looking for any creature that can attack. Okay, there we go. We can put back Kaito. We can put back one of these lands. Go ahead and fetch. Swamp here. All right, another Wasteland. This may actually be really good for us. So if we just waste the land, then we don't have to worry about them dazing us. This would be a force if they have one. It is. All right. So we can borrow this back to their hand and just manage their lands. They only have 1 basic land in their deck, if even 1, but probably 1. Does this flip? It doesn't flip. Okay, that's good for us. No land. I'm going to see if I can find a land. Or find a fetch. Shuffle some of this away. Didn't find a fetch, but yeah, we don't need the second Kaito. I'm just going to do this now while they don't have days up. Just cleanly answer that. They have a second force? They do. Okay. Well, we are decimating their hand. Yeah, I'll just hardcast a Borrower, and then we'll use that to get Kaito out. Then we can stun this. Delver does not flip again. They have a Wasteland. Fire it off by all means. I think are we drawing Underground Sea? If so, then we can go ahead and play the Borrower here. No, we're drawing Borrower. Okay, well, I'll just wait and see what they draw. I can't believe that they would waste me there, but I guess maybe they don't have anything to do with their mana. I'm just going to bounce it. Okay, now they play the island, and now they can play it. Okay. So, unfortunately, Wasteland is not going to find any purchase. Sadly, we've drawn the only cards we can't cast in our entire deck, I think. I'm just going to take this hit. I think in the end step I could bounce it out of play. They have a second one. You know, these are getting kind of dangerous. I'll wait till the end step and then I'll bounce it. Come on, give us something. That Wasteland, I guess, was pretty effectual. All right. I guess I just do it. I'll do it now to minimize the likelihood of them being able to double daze it, but they could just very well bolt it. If they attack with this, I'll probably just let it through so I can get Kaito on the table, but it's certainly tempting to trade. They reveal Force. I think we just let it happen and then we can stun them. Yeah. I mean, they're going to play at the other one, but they may not be able to get that to flip, and we might be able to get an attack in with Kaito. It's a dangerous game we're playing here. Okay, Harbinger. Not exactly what we need right now. I'm so terrified that this is going to flip. But I do need to get Kaito on the table. The other option is I could just plus it. I could plus it, and then what I could do is I could Kaito into Kaito. And if it flips, it'll save me 6 life. I think that's better. Yeah, this is, I think, less risky. But if they just go for us and ignore Kaito, I can't imagine a world in which they do that. But if this Delver flips, like this Kaito dies. Okay, it didn't flip. So this Kaito can survive. I'm really keen to stick this Harbinger as soon as we can, but if they attack Kaito, then I'll just attack with him and I'll ninjutsu Kaito out for a new Kaito. Oh yeah, this is going to be sweet. I've never gotten Kaito into Kaito before. Kaito chaining. Another Delver. All right. Gosh. Now Kaito chaining doesn't even save him. And if these flip, we're just basically dead on board. Let's see what we draw. If we draw like a Strix or something, it changes a lot. Force. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plus. Hopefully they block here. No, if they block, then that screws up my Kaito thing. Let's see if they block. Come on, use your life total as a resource. Oh, how sweet it is. I'm going to do it like this because I might rip a cantrip. Fresh Kaito inbound. Hitting him for 5. Now we get a second activation. I think we do the surveil here. Or we could stun the big one. We stun the big one, these two can kill it. I'm going to do the surveil trick. Because if I find a Mockingbird or something, that would be so sweet. Okay, Strix, these are insane. I just wish I had the mana to plant him. I'll put that on top, and I'll take the Strix now. Kaito's going to die, but we will have a lot of things we can do. Man, Kaito's so good. We have Force with Daze mana up, but they could waste us. Let's see whether these flip. Oh, they both flip. Revealing another Force. Okay. I don't think we're going to win anymore. Not that I really thought we were, but like you would expect like a mana screwed opponent. All right, and our opponent is divvying up the damage between the two of us. So Kaito's going down. We're dropping to 8. All right. So Bowmaster is no longer a great card, unfortunately. They could double force the Strix. So I will pitch probably Harbinger here when they force. And then they'll have to force again. Holy cow, they let it through? That doesn't make any sense. I did not expect that. Am I pressing my luck to go ahead and also Borrower here? Because that feels like that's what I want to do. I mean, they have a known force. Why didn't they force this? That is like an absolute... You forced that, right? Maybe they have a Pyroblast? So next turn, we can ping the one when they replay it. If they have Daze, it's like so bad because I'm gonna definitely force pitching Harbinger here. Kill something. They're brainstorming in their main phase. This could unlock land. It could just completely unlock their hand. What do we do here? My instinct is to force it, but they're going to force back. I'm really afraid of like Bolt. Yeah, I don't want them to have additional lands. I think I force pitched the Harbinger here. Because I can Kaito and Ponder next turn. So they're going to force back. It does restrict their options a bit. They pitched their Delver to do that. I'm pretty sure they still have another force. I thought I saw them draw all 4 forces off the Insectile Aberration reveals. Bobble. I can Bowmaster with the Bobble trigger on the stack. That'll be really good, actually. That means I can't Kaito, but I can kill one of the Insectile Aberrations, which is better. They did find a second land, so we do have Murktide on the menu. However, we do have chump blocks for several days if we ever just have mana. I did waste them, and I stand by that wasteland being the correct thing. Like, they haven't had red the entire game because of that wasteland, but we are going to be crimped on mana again. They should attack here, and I'll just trade. So I'm going to take 3, then I'm going to Bowmaster this other one down. Then we just have Murktide to worry about, and another potential force. They're brainstorming around. They may have used the force. I mean, if this resolves, we'll know they'll use the force, because that, yeah, you definitely force that. All right, draw your card. Boom. Shot through the heart, and you're too late. Oh, that's a sweet rip. I think we just chill. Next turn, we can get Kaito back out and stun or Merc if they play a Merc. There's the land. If they cast a cantrip, we can kill them, potentially. There's the red. They're just playing it out. All right, I pretty much have to do this. I just want to kill this. Then want to figure out what to do about the other one. Do they have a daze or something to cast here? No? Wow. Okay. DRC resolves. It's delirious. We can attack and stun it. Attack with everything. We stun this. I think I take them off red. They're dead. They're dead because of, yeah, I think that's lethal. Yeah, exactly 8. Oh, wow. I didn't think about these emblems. Okay, cool. That worked out great. I did not. I thought we were like 1% to win that game. I'm so glad I caught that on film. Like, it may feel like why are we having such a hard time beating them? But like, that's like, Delver is deceptive. You're always just like, man, how am I losing to these wimpy ass creatures? You know, that's how Delver rolls. Okay, so we're keeping the deck the same. This is a serviceable hand. I'm going to keep it. We're going to force Pitch Force. It's the worst card in our hand for sure. I will force like a DRC. I think, again, my operating theory is DRC is the reason Delver is playable. And if you take that out, just like you take Loam out of the lands deck, or you take Entomb out of the Reanimator deck, like the entire archetype collapses. So we can get a Surveil. I'm not going to play on basics this game. That's fine. Playing the Brainstorm after they've played the land is very honest. Means they're going to get an imperfect Brainstorm. All right, and now we'll go Surveil. I am kind of tempted to not play the Strix into days. Just chill for another turn. That's a great thing to do with our turn. I don't really want my opponent to get dazed. I think they might go for it, but I'll just play around dazed for the entire game if I can. Now Spellbomb is really good here. Wasteland we don't need. I don't mind the extra land. Go like this. I mean, I could just play the Spellbomb out into daze. Or I could just be patient on, but have a ton of land. Spellbomb is great because you just manage their graveyard, and they need their graveyard to turn on most of their big threats. Gosh, I've played against this card. This card drives me crazy. I'm going to force it. I don't want to deal with it all game. It either counters 0 cards or it counters like 20 cards. It's an extremely frustrating card to play against because of the variation. Like, and it's just, your opponent just blind flips stuff left and right. It drives you crazy. Okay, well, I really don't want to play against this. Let's see if we can get it countered. Or if they have a daze here. There's the daze, yeah. So they've got a counterbalance, which will be a pain for the rest of the game. I lost this, and it was in such a frustrating fashion that I just deleted the recording afterward. I was just like, no, I'm not letting anybody see that. It was just, they blind flipped like 5 times or something like that. And I was in such a dominant position, but over time, my position completely eroded. So you could say the best way to do it is just to test with the Spellbomb, because the Strix is pretty important, but then we could get dazed. Again, they could just have another daze. We could just chill. But then they have Brainstorm mana up, and suddenly like they can, Brainstorm and counter anything. So, I mean, my instinct is don't test. 1-drops are like by far the most common thing they have in their deck. Maybe we wait a turn and then we can just do both around days. But again, they could have Brainstorm. They've already used one, but that doesn't mean they don't have like 10 more. There's a waste. So they're just going to keep us low resource. That's fine. I will float just in case they cast a cantrip. Just passing. Maybe now was actually the time to use Bowmasters, which is a pretty low stakes card here, to test so that I would have an entire turn knowing what was going to be possible. Oh, man. I think we just wait another turn. Again, like maybe this is the turn that I Orcish Bowmaster. Okay, that is not a wasteland. That's good. If they put a Brainstorm on the stack, I will go ahead and Bowmaster. Okay, here's a Murktide. Pretty annoying. This is an opportunity to test with Orcish Bowmaster, which they're probably unlikely to counter. But if they do have a Brainstorm in hand, they basically put it on top, which locks me out of Strixing. Yeah, and you could say like, well, you should have just played the Null Spellbomb last time. It's most likely going to get countered. Like they have so many 1-drops in their deck. It's like 30 1-drops or something. Dragon Ray Chandler. Okay, there's a 1-drop on top. So yeah, I mean, it's impossible to know what was on their deck at the time. Very good chance that they have a Pyro here. Let's go ahead and do this. They could. Okay, they're going to go get a freaking Brainstorm. Yeah, and then Brainstorm. Just like I have to Brainstorm in response to Brainstorm so that I can, oh, is it in? Ponder? Oh, great. So that does lock out these cards in our hand currently. You know what? Like, I'm just going to do it while the getting's good and get it while the getting's good. If I can talk. Yeah, I'm just not going to play on basics. Like they can freaking, they can pop me if they really want to. I'm just going to play this out now. Just because this thing is such a pain. My goodness. It's like my entire game plan has been utterly warped. All right, and now we can race them. They'll probably kill this in combat. We've got 4 minutes on the clock too. We need to be quick. They have like 15 cards in their deck that deal with this. It's probably actually like 8. Yeah, that deals with it. Okay, now they're coming in and we're not going to be able to race them. This Now Spellbomb is not important. I can test. I'd be willing to bet that they're putting 2s on top because that's the things they can get rid of Murktide. More Strix. Mockingbird showing up would be freaking phenomenal because I could get a Bowmaster Ping, grow the army, and have a Chumper. Keep feeding my clock with those cantrips, please. So we're not actually winning the race here. We're hitting for 6. Okay, we're not winning the race at all now. But they did use a Precious Bolt there. Okay. I mean, like, I don't think we have the luxury of testing here. We could, but like I might need to use all this mana to get a Kaito on the table. Let's go ahead and attempt to do this. It's almost certainly countered. Chose not to use it. Okay, so now we're going to put this Spellbomb back that just feeds the... I'm going to use another Precious Blue mana here to ponder, to shuffle. Any order to shuffle. Another Bowmaster doesn't speed up the clock enough. Yeah, again, I think they have a 2 on top. And Brainstorm as well. And then we're going to have to shuffle. Mockingbird, come on. Oh, there it is. Oh, no. Mockingbird can't come in as a Bowmaster because they have a 2 on top. It can next turn. I'll wait a turn. We'll attack. And next turn, we'll attempt to Mockingbird. We're going to be very low on life. Yeah, every single mana has mattered here. Like, if I had a 3rd mana, like I could put this in as a 3 and there's no way they can counter it. It just copies a Bowmaster, pings them, deals damage, chumps. It doesn't necessarily win us the game, but it is strong. They have tons of land. I'm glad I haven't been wasting in this game. We're falling dangerously close to Bolt. I'll just fetch now. Okay, let's think about this. So we could test with Bowmaster, see what they have on top. It's the least important of these. If they have a 3 on top, then we go for that, and their last card has to be Daze. This is so fun. I'm having the time of my life. I love Mockingbird. Don't have a freaking Pyro. I've never cast this spell before, but it feels pretty good. We've got the Daze protection mana up. They're going to choose not to use it. A flying Bowmaster. I've never seen this before. I've seen lifelinking Bowmasters from the Metamorph thing. They could still just kill us and we still... What? They had the Daze and they just didn't reveal for the Bowmaster? All right, well, good games. Yeah, they got my hopes up. All right, well, that was fun. We got our butts kicked, but it was still fun. And I think, yeah, I mean, Counterbalance is a really good card, apparently. Just randomly. It's also a really terrible card. It just depends on luck. It's a luck card. And I'm all about reducing variance. That's why I play cantrips and stuff. So I'll complain about the fact that it adds more variance. It's like printing that, Comet Stellar Pup or something like that, where sometimes you just randomly lose because you let it resolve. Yeah. It's not... I'm not like a luck guy. Maybe I should switch to chess. Who knows? Chess is solved. Nobody solved MTG. My opponent says, hey, I want to say I'm a big fan of your channel. Good luck. Have fun. Okay, so let's see what they're likely playing. Cold Snaps, very good expansion of Yore. In the past, they played Reanimator. I think this is fine. This is a good, well-rounded hand. I'm going to keep it and hope that they're not comboing us out. All right, more Delver. So we get to see whether that was a fluke last round. Oh, and they have the combo, the little mini combo that makes this deck so strong. Wow, creature in the yard. I mean, they've got everything. If they have a Daze, this will be delirious. So I'm definitely not going to be able to poke it. I think I push it immediately and hope they don't have Daze. I'm also probably going to get a freaking Swamp here just because, oh yeah, now I can get Swamp. And I do think it's correct to just grab Swamp here. You just don't let this thing live. It just fills up the yard so quickly. All right, do you have Daze? Okay, they had the God Hand. That does happen. I've certainly dealt the God Hand to people before, and they just dealt it to us. So we're going to get completely destroyed by this thing. Yeah, I mean, like, that is the God Hand. Like, Delirious on turn 2, ready to attack as soon as the Summoning Sickness wears off at 3. They may have a Ponder or something here. Yeah, Ponder, exactly. So they're going to be able to line up even more of these things. And now that they're Delirious, they can just keep dropping them. And they don't even have like a warm-up time like Delver does. They just hit his 3/3s. All right, so options. I think our only real option is to... I mean, I don't really want to put ourselves back in Daze range. I think we do fetch the basic island and we just drop a Tamio and we hope that she absorbs some. And then this next turn we can Tamio with the Brainstorm. Tamio with Brainstorm. We won't be able to get a perfect Brainstorm anymore. But Bowmasters, I'm still holding out hope that it can ping a Delver if they play one and that we will be able to pay for Daze. But being able to pay for Daze, sometimes they just have the force. Coming in for a hug. We don't have a Poison Owl to hug back this time. They could Merc here. Okay, that's fine. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. I mean, it would have been nice if she could have generated a clue on the way through, but it's a 1-for-1. And against Delver, a 1-for-1 is like really strong because like they don't really have any way to pull ahead. There's the other DRC that I was telling you. Remember? I was telling you a minute ago, they can just keep dropping these and then we're going to die to them. All right. I'm trying not to be fatalistic. I'm trying to keep a positive mindset here. I'm just going to drop this. This should tell them that I have a Brainstorm. And then what we'll do is we'll block and then we'll flip after the block. And then maybe they bolt. But, you know, we're still getting the Brainstorm. I am in harm reduction mode. Now we're going to attempt a Brainstorm. They may force this. It would definitely be a good opportunity to force because they could deny us the Brainstorm and they kill the Tamio. Sometimes you just have to accept that Delver has your number. And everything they've done so far would certainly indicate that they have our number. Like having basically everything they need. But keep in mind, Delver will always have everything it needs if it has a DRC online. Because DRC is the ultimate card selection tool. They could even double daze this if they find a second daze. All right, is our Brainstorm going to resolve? It does. Wow. Okay, so these forces are pretty terrible, but this Fatal Push is great. I'll put back... So I think next turn I'm going to Underground Sea. I'm going to push one. Can plus... I do want to hold up Force just for Murktide because I think that's something that could be existential for us. No, we want to play that out next turn. We might be able to wait till the coast is clear on the Orcish Bowmaster. I think it would be crazy to go for the Fatal Push now, but it's actually kind of tempting because it would save us 3 life, and 3 life could be a big deal. They did just Brainstorm, and I think it's possible they're putting back Dazes. Okay, so I'm going to do something very questionable. No, I just want to make sure it's gone. Yeah, I think it'd be greedy to push now. So they have a bolt. They can bolt this off. But we, as stands, we have Daze Protective Force of Will in case they do try to drop. Okay, they're not doing anything. That's great for us. All right. Plus land drop. Can push here. I will force. I really need these to go away. Now we have force protected Bowmaster on a Brainstorm or something like that. They have cast 2 of their 3, 4 Brainstorms. They actually have cast 4 of their cantrips. We've only cast 1. In Blue Mirrors, you can often tell who's ahead by looking at how many cantrips have been cast by each side. So they're going to be able to keep Artamio in check, but they may just go for us. Yeah, they're going for us. This is fine because I can regrow a Fatal Push and just take this out, which I think is probably the right thing to do here. Especially if they don't have a follow-up threat. Okay, so we could get the clock going with the Bowmaster. We have a Ponder on top. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. If a bolt at Bowmaster is a bolt that's not aimed at us. So, you know, scaring the cantrips out of their hand is fine. I think a lot of people try to time their Bowmaster for maximum damage, but it is like a hate piece that just sticks around. We could have like Unholy Heat or something here. Seek the Beast. I think this is a force. We're pre-board, so they probably don't have a Pyro here. Let's just do it. Oh no, MTGO is going to be taken offline in 1 hour and 17 minutes. Well, that is a bummer because I'm in the middle of recording. Okay. So I think the simple thing to do here is if we minus, they can take it out, but like I'm more worried about my life. I could ponder into a Thoughtseize. No. Would I even Thoughtseize here? I do need to make sure this dies. Let's ponder first. Strix is insane. I kind of think we plus and we Strix here. 4 mana and still, you know, cramped by the fact that they are playing Daze. They probably would have forced back with the Druid. So I don't think they have force here. We draw. It's plus. I am going to go ahead and swing in. Delver has to attack, but they can just bolt it out of the way. If we can line up some more Strixen or, I mean, Mockingbird is insane on this board. Like I might actually just mock their Dragon Rage Chandler so I can get more value. I don't really need to fill up my yard though. So I think what is likely to happen is we take this, but we should. And then they drop a Merc. Because it would make sense to have Merc chilling in their hand. They've been 1 Merc. All right, wow. They didn't have anything. What do they have in their hand? They've got 4 cards in their hand. They could just bolt us out. Maybe I need to regrow a force to protect. I'm going to go ahead and start by brainstorming here. I just want to make sure I can dodge cards like... Okay, so it's insane. Don't really need a second Tamio, but we can put this back. Yeah, we can draw the Tamio. Because if they have like double bolt and they're just timing it around me having anything, like I'm hellbent. Actually, I just put myself in a really bad situation. I should have probably put the force in hand first. Because if they have double bolt, we're dead. Forcing. Okay. That's pretty bad actually because I think I'm going to plus and I'm just going to try to win through Tamio. I'm not going to be able to win through combat. And like Tamio drawing half of my deck can be sufficient. Even in the face of Murktide. A... Brainstorm. Okay, so they have cantrips in hand. That's probably what they have. Playing out the Brazen Borrower. Okay, it is going to only hit for 2 here. So we're not dead to bolt, but we can't fetch anymore. This does prevent us from being able to ultimate here. So I think we have a... Do we have a Tamio on top? Yeah, because I put Tamio on top because I wanted to... So what I can do is I can play out the Tamio and she can block this thing while we try to ultimate again. I think that's a patient play, but I think it's an okay play. Let's go ahead and make sure she resolves first. Okay, she's in. Plus, I'm going to attack. I don't think they have any instant speed blockers. So now we can just block for Tamio with Tamio, her younger self. Can you imagine that? Like, it's like Terminator, like your younger self comes back to protect you from your older self. You're like geriatric, like greeting people at Walmart and stuff, and then like the younger version appears and like saves you from a bullet. They've gotten us very close to death. Never count Delver out. The bolts give them some degree of reach, even when you've got a really gummed up board state like this. All right, they are desperately doing the double bolt route. They're going to ponder, which is going to let me kill their Brazen Borrower here. If they find a borrower, they can bounce this. Bobble. Oh no, don't use that bobble. Don't do it to yourself. We're about to draw half our deck, which is 20 cards. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I definitely empathize with their situation. I've been there. All right. Well, Tomio's just going to go right back up to 7 here. They have 1 card. Our clock has been hastened. If they're going to bobble, they should bobble now. We're about to draw a blank. I am going to fetch. I'm going to put ourselves within, well, I mean, we're already within 2 bolt range, so it doesn't really matter. We want to manipulate our draw. I think it's more important than having land here. Yeah, we dodged. Nice dodge. All right, Brainstorm's a great rip, but we can't use it. Take Tomio back up, and we're just going to attack with everything. Create a clue. We can chill on the clue. Kudos to my opponent for just fighting really hard, like against, you know, like they're still fighting for that like 5% chance that they can win. This is death for them. They could rip double bolt though. Okay. Wow, that was a freaking nail biter. 16 minutes on both of our clocks. A lot of thinking for sure. Okay, so we'll just do our plan from last time. Hydroblast is great. Harbinger is good against, did we see drop? We didn't see drop. We saw Seek the Beast though. So there's 3 killer mode. So in that situation, I do think it's worth bringing that in. Just cut all our Thoughtseize. We don't have life to use as a resource in this matchup, as we discussed last game. Days is worse on the draw. Gosh, this deck feels amazing. I'm loving this deck. I love just, like, even in the face of all of these wastelands and dazes and stuff. I mean, round 1 could have gone either way. Like, if we'd been able to successfully diffuse that counterbalance, then I think we win, but yeah, they had the perfect storm of counter magic for that one. Anyway, I'll try not to sound so wistful and just focus on the game in hand. All right, we've got a cantrip hand with lands. Mockingbird seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I just paid 5 ticks for these. I want to use them. Cracking the fetch. Got a cool old border dealt. I bought those at great cost myself. I mean, if we just kill this, it like dramatically slows their game plan. We're not going to be delirious, so we're not going to be able to take advantage of her. Also, we don't really use our graveyard. Yeah, I'm going to attempt to force her. If there's any card you force, it's this one. Guess we just pitch. I mean, I hate to do it, but Mockingbird is the one that is like it's a mid-game card. If they daze back, they don't get the surveil. If they force back, that's fine. We're parity. Wow, we stopped it. I feel so good. Okay, and they would have had the freaking God hand again. Yeah. I mean, this is like so good. Just being able to like do all that card selection and everything for free on turn 1. This card is pretty janky, but with a DRC, it's insane. Okay, so I think I'm just going to island and ponder here, and I'm going to try to line up a 3rd land. This matchup is all about getting mana underneath you and not dying. And these are good cards. The Wasteland is a land. We can just use it as a colorless source. Yeah, I'm going to keep these. Orcish Bowmaster can deal with a Delver. I'll put it on the bottom. So we can Tomio and then we can... They don't seem to have days. So we can Tomio and then have Brainstorm to protect her. And I'll Tomio off the Underground Sea so they can't waste me off of Brainstorming. Wow. They're in a hard spot here if they're main phase like Brainstorming. They could just have the... they just might have the fetch in hand and just not really care because they don't think we have days, and we don't. Okay, they have the Valk. Here's the second one. I can't stop this one. It's already arriving as delirious. They have exactly the card types. So I'm going to try to block and then Brainstorm, and then they could daze the Brainstorm. Wow, that's so dangerous. I think I'm not going to block. I'm going to let them get a hit. I want to eat a bolt or something. And of course, just because they had days in turn 1 doesn't mean they're like nearly 15 cards into their deck, which means they're nearly likely to have seen one. Just going to chill. I don't want to give up any days equity here. If we can get a clue crack before we Brainstorm, that's good. If they play out a Delver, that'll be fantastic because I can just days protected Bowmaster it next turn. All right, they are attempting to do this. I'm going to attempt Brainstorm in response. Well, let's go ahead and let them surveil. They know what's happening. Surveil, land into the yard. Do they have the days? Or the Pyro. Yeah, they have the days. Okay, so we lose everything. Called being on the draw against Delver. And keep in mind, like our deck is basically designed to beat Delver. Like we have so many anti-Delver cards in our deck, it's not even funny. And it's still such an uphill battle. It's a really strong deck. I don't think it's a band tier deck like... Reanimator is, but so options. One, we can just chill. I think borrowing this out of play is okay, but Let's say hypothetically we find a Hydro or a Fatal Push. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things we can find here. Hopefully they don't pyro this. That's all I got going on. Strix is insane. All right, so I think we do just Tamio again and be patient. Borrowing this out of play doesn't really do a lot. I mean, it does slow. It saves us 3 life, basically. It saves us from 1 attack. They're down to 3 cards in hand. I'll just hold the Bowmaster for a Delver. I'm not going to try to like hold up mana just to be able to hopefully spike a Brainstorm. They've already cast their 1 Brainstorm for these 15 cards. The more removal I can draw, the better, because the card I need to not be removed is my Baleful Strix. If they find a Pyro, it's really bad. I hope they use the Pyro on Tamio, because I really don't want the Strix to get countered. Strix is like, look at our life. We're already at 12. We've done like 1 damage to ourselves, basically, or 2 damage to ourselves. So yeah, because we're going to have to force and do a lot of other stuff here. Okay, they have another land, which actually we're happy to see land here. Okay. Oh, so even if it might be worth just going ahead and poking that and testing their interaction. Go ahead and create a clue first. Our force is on top of our deck. Yeah, I'm just going to poke this now. I could definitely wait until their turn to force them to use mana on their turn. That's probably better. Just do it during their upkeep before the trigger. Okay, we got there. That is a little bit of relief, but we're still under the gun. And, you know, like if they have 3 bolts, we're dead this turn. A lot of the blue-red Delver decks have gone down to 3 bolts, so it's possible that we're not as dead as we would normally be. It's another DRC. Scary. All right. So now we draw our force. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and Strix. We're drawing an unknown card. Hopefully it's a land, because that would be useful for cracking the clue on Tamio here. But I'll have to force if they pyro. Harbinger is a card that we can pitch to force. I think we just have to chill and be totally defensive. We can't attack into this. Yeah, we're going to take another 3 here, even with the Delver, which I will force to protect. If we get Harbinger down, if we can somehow clear these and get Harbinger down, then we don't have to worry about Bolt for the rest of the game. I think we have to force this. It's a body, and it is a whole bunch of additional surveils. If they are holding a Pyroblast, congratulations for being so disciplined. Gosh, the Harbinger locks us out of black as well. I think it's not the play. Because this, on the other hand, can like bounce out, and then it can also come in and potentially profitably block. Yeah, we're about to take 6. What a wonderful world. All right. Can we even win anymore? I'm not sure that we can. I don't think it was a mistake to force that, by the way. Like, you could say, well, you should have held the force for the bolt. They had 2 cards in hand, and yeah, let's just take it and hope they don't have the bolt. I'm not going to block with Tommy. I'll do that next turn. I'll bounce one out of the play, and then I'll block with her. Because if I draw like a Brainstorm, that would be... It's a land we can't really use. So we crack the clue. We could go to 1. That's super dangerous. What would we achieve? We could just cast out a Brazen Borrower to just trade. So I'm going to attack with these 2. There's no reason to hold these back. I think it's worth blocking with Tamio and borrowing. I mean, we could crack like a Fatal Push. What else could we get that could deal with both of these? Okay. Hear me out. Their last card's days were dead. But if we find a Strix, this is better. I'll grab my swamp here. Blue, black. Don't have a freaking red blast or a daze or like a bolt or one of millions of different cards you could have that kill me. Okay, and now Tommy flips. Oh no, I didn't think about that. Okay, well, we lost. Yeah, that was dumb. Sorry. I'm wasting your time. All right. Let's go to the next game. Okay. Man. Yeah, I didn't think about her flipping and not being able to chomp. That was just a punt on my part. Okay. So, deck stays the same. Let's do it. I believe in the deck. I believe that control can occasionally beat tempo. By the way, this is like the lowest to the ground thing you could potentially even call control, but I do think is a control deck. People will split hairs about this, but I mean, we're playing like a planeswalker. We're playing 2 planeswalkers technically. This is a mulligan. This is a keep. I'm going to put back the Wasteland. I'd much rather Sewer here. I don't think we waste at all, but we don't cut them just because we do use colorless mana. All right, our opponent kept 7. They could have another God Hand. I mean, it's crazy, but I think I actually keep this. Getting flooded against Delver is rarely a problem. All right, Delver. We have 0 interaction, but I think the upside is too high. I'm going for it. No guts, no glory. They force, that's good for us. They daze, that's terrible for us, but we try. We're in. Allow listed. My goodness. What were the odds of that? They wouldn't have either a force or a daze. And I bet you they do have their forces in. They may have some dazes out on the draw, but I don't think that's correct. Like, I think daze is just so strong. All right. It's kind of like a 3-for-1 there. DRC. Not delirious yet. Now it is. Okay. How important was it that we kill that Delver? My goodness. Like, we could have already taken 3, and then they follow up with the second threat. I mean, their deck is so fast. It's just oppressive. I love it. Still got 4 cards in hand despite like all those things we did. All right. Well, they didn't have days earlier. I mean, this is a chance to lock them out of red. The other option is to just dig for interaction. I think that's smarter. And then we give them one more turn with red. Yeah, let's see what we find here. I don't think these are good enough. Okay, we got the force anyway. So I think what we do here is we just plop this down and we do go ahead and play out the Tamio. And I probably won't use this force for anything but like... Actually, if they play a second DRC, I'll probably try to force. It's just... One can only endure so much of 3x3 beating. Hopefully they pyro this. Next turn we do have Harbinger. We're going to take this. We can get a fetch or swamp here and we have perfect mana and they have imperfect. 5 cards in hand. They're passing. Drawing wild. Let's go ahead and draw wild. Mockingbird, you don't say. That's not great here. It does pitch the force. I'm going to go get the swamp. I'm going to go for attack first just to see if we can bait their interaction. All right. This will be good later. I promise this is a good card. And if this Harbinger sticks, it basically means we don't even have to take a damage to fetch. We just have a free island. Okay, this is a critical decision. They're blasting here. They could have another blast. I mean, they have a lot of cards in their hand. Do we just take this 1-for-1? I mean, they could easily just have another blast. And then we have like very little. We have a Tamio that's active. No guts, no glory. Can it work twice in one game? Oh. No. Oh, no, they're just floating. Yeah, they're just going to float and bolt. Yeah, that works too. Yeah, okay, well, we got 2-for-1. Tamio's safe. She's our card draw engine. So we're just going to wait and see what Tamio can give us. We do have a Surveil. Oh, no, wait, we already used our Surveil. Okay, Brainstorm. Gosh, they've gotten so much value. They probably surveilled like 4 or 5 times at least for a 1-drop. This is the most powerful 1-drop in Legacy. Make no mistake. When people said like Deathrite Shaman is like kind of like a 1-mana planeswalker, this is basically a 1-mana planeswalker. Like its ability is just insane. And it just does so much damage. It's soloing us. There's the Daddy Merc, which prevents me from being able to crack in with Tamio. They played out their land. Okay, so we need like a Baleful Strix stat. Fatal Push deals with that. Prevents us from being able to attack with Tamio. We're going to take so much damage. I'm tempted to just flip Tamio. But if we do the double clue to flip Tamio, we're almost certainly going to get hit. We'd have to draw a land. We're fetching a land out of our deck, which reduces the likelihood of us drawing a land. We could just take this, and then we could just draw. And then next turn, we could draw and flip her, and hopefully find an answer to Murktide in those cards. I think we have to do that. I do need to get rid of this. Together, they kill us. I'm going to go ahead and draw now, just in case I draw a Brainstorm. That way I could like block and flip. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think we play this out just to have access to more mana for our next turn, just in case we need an additional mana. But our cards are on the table, and they are not good. And if they have a bolt, they can basically kill us. Just getting Delvered twice in a row. My goodness. Okay, they're fetching. There's their odd Volk. Probably just gradually upgrading these new non-reserve list ones into the nice reserve list art. Preordain, digging. If they find another Merc, that's also GG. Yeah, and I said, oh, we can crack 2 clues next turn. We're only going to create 1 clue. And by creating a clue, we do prevent Tamio herself. Like, they're just digging for like a bolt or, really anything at this point. Yeah, and that probably is game. They don't have anything. If we find a Strix, we could win. But, I mean, they've gotten so much selection. They've gotten so many bad cards out of their deck. All right, I'm going to do the rare fetch to thin. Is that correct? Because we could get out of this and then we could just die to a freaking bolt. They've used one of their bolts. I'm not going to fetch the thin. I refuse. Strix. Kaito does it. Kaito's great. Boom, boom. Oh, wait. Kaito comes in. Absolutely stunning. Next turn we can start surveilling, assuming they don't have an answer for it, but they do have a lot of answers for Kaito in their deck. Deck is like, they probably have like 8 answers for Kaito. Fetching just a thin. If they can't find an answer, we can plus and then we can seek the piece. This will find an answer for sure. They don't have green mana to deploy it, but what are the odds? DRC and a force. Big trouble. All right, so we need another answer here. Spellbomb doesn't do it. Spellbomb's actively terrible. Okay, 45 minutes. Thanks, MTGO. Let's see. So if they don't block, I can go ahead. Okay, my thinking is we go ahead and just Spellbomb ourselves. We don't need this stuff in our graveyard in any way. Whoa, Scoob. That is really good. I'm going to go ahead and plus here. I'm going to attack in. I don't think they're going to block. I could have drawn, but I need to be able to stun Merc again next turn. This is a freaking game for the ages. My goodness. Rip a Ponder, but I don't want to go into bolt range. I'm going to chill. I mean, again, like a bolt, a pyro, anything. This game has been insane, regardless of what happens. Maybe they just have a land. Have to attack in. It's been one of the best games of my life. I'm not exaggerating. All right, you're saying there's a chance. Holy cow, what a freaking rip. Let's go ahead and do our damage first, and then we'll stun. We may not need to stun. Let's see what we can find. If we can find a borrower, we can maybe just put it back to hand. Hydroblast is good. Hydroblast is life. Force doesn't really help us. Second Kaito. So we could stun, and then next turn we could Kaito into Kaito. I mean, there may not be a next turn. I think taking Hydroblast is absolutely fine here. Wow. So intense. They've got 2 cards in their grip. Kaito is so insane. Such a great card. We are attempting to Hydroblast their bolt. They do not have Hardcast Force mana up. Good games. It was a very fun match. Holy cow, we won that. We came back. Oh, that was insane. I'm so glad I got that on film for you all. So obviously, like, MTGO is about to do maintenance. I'm going to go do some work and other unfun stuff. And then I'm going to come back after that, and we're going to do 3 more rounds with this awesome deck. This is so fun. This is just like being able to, like, so this deck, like, let's take a look at it real quick. Just because I need to decompress a little bit after that. Like, we have the perfect mana. That's great. We haven't gotten to see Mockingbird do anything yet other than be pitched to force. But I think this is going to be great. It may only be a one of, but like I paid like 5 ticks each to get 2 of them just so I can increase the likelihood of drawing them. But Kaito, my goodness. Kaito is so strong. It soloed them. After the DRC nearly soloed us, we turned around and Kaito came to the rescue. What a freaking Prince Charming. Okay, and Strix has been insane. We've gotten so many 2-for-1s for that. Yeah. But as you can see, like, when you play a control, you have to fight for your wins. These have not been easy wins, or like the one win. Like the other one was like, we didn't win the first one. But yeah, we're splitting the Delver matchup. See you in round 3. Round 3, we're up against a likely Reanimator player. This hand doesn't really do enough in my mind. I think we need a Thoughtseize or a Force of Will just in case they have their nut draw. This is a great keep for sure. Let's keep this. I will put back Kaito. He is the late game play. Pitch to Force is probably just going to be Wasteland because Strix may be able to get in and do some damage here. I'm just going to lead with this, not give them any information about what I'm doing. They have the information that I don't have days. They could be on Tempo instead of Reanimator. They have played Tempo as well, but this card is good against both of those decks. It's fine. Probably going to take the Brainstorm. Maybe they'll take the Strix. They could take the Strix and then just value Reanimate it. All right, they're opting not to do that. This is a Surveil situation here. Fatal Push might be relevant. A lot of these decks do not really play much of a mid-range plan at all. They're all in on Troll or getting, an Atraxa or an Archon in play. They've led with both their basics. I do want to find a land, and I do think it's worth risking them wasting us to get it. The fact that they had no turn 2 play does lend credence to them being on Reanimator. So Bowmasters, I can just Fatal Push this. I'm just going to let it resolve, and then I'll Fatal Push next turn. Okay, so we're going to get the Surveil here. I love the perfect simple mana of just playing this blue-black control deck. That is going straight into the yard. Definitely don't need any more Wastelands here against their... there's a risk that they just reanimate this. I could just play this out for a turn. Yeah, I think it's fine because this will get us an extra clue. This is a creature that if they force it, they can't really reanimate it because if they flip it, it goes back to our side. So what I can do now is I can just block the Bowmaster when they attack and I'll just take one. And then next turn, I can Fatal Push. Hopefully they don't have a waste here. But this does give us something to do with our Wastelands. Okay, red. Interesting. They're on Grixis. Grixis control. All right, I like this matchup a lot better than I like the... But that does mean that the Nile Spellbomb's probably not going to do anything here. All right, so we'll just go block here. They could have something that does 2 damage to it. Kaito, that is quite unfortunate. Yep, that's powerful. They beat us to Kaito. I didn't know they were on this, so they haven't played anything like this in a long time. They're minusing here. That's not terrible for us. Brainstorm. So, we're kind of like stuck just pushing this. I'm trying to think. I'm not going to Brainstorm. I think it's safer to push now, but they could just reestablish supremacy. I want to see if they commit more resources, so I might be able to have a higher likelihood of getting a... Oh, yeah. I do this, and then next turn I can flip Tomio with my Brainstorm. All right, I'm going to attempt to push this. I will force over this. Gosh, it sucks that it's exactly Spell Pierce. Yeah, I'm going to pitch my Strix. It doesn't do anything here. I need to get this out of the play in order to be able to use my Brainstorm. If they have a force, okay, this game's over. Let's go to the next game. All right, so this dramatically changes how we're going to play the game, knowing that they're on this, and it is almost certainly James Kisal's list. A lot of people play lists like James Kisal is a great player, but I think his list is MTGO just updated, so the cards are gigantic. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his list. I think that there's a lot of error in it. And I think I may have said this before, but he could probably be dropped into the jungle with nothing but like a Bowie knife and get a trophy, He's such an experienced player. All right. So Nile Spellbomb definitely comes out. Hydroblast come in. I don't think Harbinger is great against them. They're probably going to be expecting days and thus playing around it. We are on the play, though. I think maybe they won't play around it because they saw the Strix. I don't know. I think we could cut a Wasteland. It's just not particularly impactful against them. They don't have any special lands. They're unlikely to go after our land. They're unlikely to board in Blood Moon against a blue-black deck. Yeah, let's try this. Actually, his list, James Kisal's list, does play Metamorphosis Fanatic. So here's his list. He plays lots of pet cards. Abhorrent Oculus and Baragorf are reasons to bring in this Dismember. So I think we could bring that in. He's also a lightning bolt deck, though. I'm not sure. I think we take out one of the forces. Because cards really matter in this matchup. Like, you're basically trying... Like, the person who has the most cards in their hand at the end is probably... I like this hand. Why does it have to have a wasteland in it? I like Thoughtseize open, but... Yeah, I don't want to go down in cards. A 5-lander, really? No, we're not keeping this. All right, this is much better. I can put away the wasteland. Again, they do sometimes play wastable lands. This has a path to basics, which I am going to take. So our opponent wisely did not mulligan. But I bet you they weren't presented with a 5-lander. Let's see. Yeah, they have a smoking hand here. Okay. So the scariest card in their hand is Bowmasters for sure. This Oculus doesn't come online for a while. It is a pain. Strix is good too, of course, but Bowmasters, I just don't want to deal with that. They are going to have access to Pyroblast, so more red than normal. So this Hydroblast is definitely worth keeping around. Pondering. They notably went for the non-basics here. So Wasteland is a live draw. Okay. Fatal Push deals with Oculus because it's just a mediocre card, in my opinion. Like, it's got all the drawbacks of Murktide, but very few of the strengths. The main challenge, though, is that we have to have Revolt. Next turn's almost certainly Baleful Strix. I might be able to find like a Daze to stop that. I think I am going to go ahead and play this, and I'm going to preserve. I just want to see what one drop. I could find another Thoughtseize. That would be worth it. Okay. So, do I need this second Fatal Push? I'm tempted. No, I don't need this Sewer. I'm going to put it back. I'll just draw this, and I'll shuffle away the Sewer. Yeah, we're just sitting here doing nothing, basically. I will end-step push the Strix. I don't have a clean way to get rid of it. Well, actually, Bowmaster gets rid of it. So I'll just leave it on the table. But that is dangerous. They do play Kaito, but they only play Kaito as a one-of. They don't even play Tamio. Like, it's wild looking at their list, like, the decisions he's made here. Again, he's a very skilled player. But which do you think is a better card, Tamio or Nimble Obstructionist? So here's the Strix. It's cantrips and gets them deeper into their deck. This turn, I can just ponder after drawing the land, and then I can hold the shuffle for later if I need to. I am going to do cantripy stuff early in the game, though. I think this is a shuffle. Tommy is not worth keeping those other two mediocre cards. We got the force anyway. All right, let's just pass. If they manage to somehow draw the... If they manage to somehow draw a Kaito, then he's got me, or they've got me, but I'm going to assume that they don't have their one of Kaito here. Okay, then they have it. That is unfortunate, but again, it's a one of in the list, and I didn't want to burn a Fatal Push just to address it. Yep. And they decided to plus it. We don't really have any counterplay for this. We can borrow it out of play. If they were going to draw it, they were going to draw it, though. I think I'm gonna go fetch my Surveillant here just to speed up the rate at which I find something useful. This is an above average draw. However, it doesn't address the big problem on the table. I'm gonna bin it. Really, just our own Kaito could do that. Like, getting Strixes would be good. Okay, that does borrow it out of play, and I think that needs to happen now. Sadly, like, I'll probably have to force. Okay, good. Now. They can replay the Strix, which I can force. But they could have like a Spell Pierce or something. They have the Oculus in hand still, most likely. They've got 8 cards in hand. It's ridiculous. We're so far behind. I think we're like maybe 5% to win this. If we just let them draw the card, then we Fatal Push this before attacks, we at least know what's coming. I don't want to force this. Hydroblast is a really good card against them. It's worth noting we don't have an easy way to turn on Revolt since I fetched to get the Surveillant last turn. I think I am going to go ahead and just push to be mana efficient here because I'm going to want to get this off the table sooner or later. And if they Spell Pierce or something, that's okay. All right. Tamio comes out. They cast Oculus. I probably just have to force it, sadly. Because, I just don't have a reliable way. And once they start creating all these tokens... Okay, this is... If I force this, then they just do the Oculus next turn. It's pretty rough. This also gives them the card they need to cast it. I'm going to do it though. What I can do is I can attack, create a clue, crack the clue, push, and they still have the thing in play. So they still have the path to getting Kaito out because they're going to manifest Dread in my upkeep. If they like somehow try to take this out and put this in play at the same time, then they turn on Revolt. Now I need them to play the Oculus. Come on, you have 6 cards in your deck. Don't you want to play into it? Unfortunately, I can't do anything about Narset either. Gosh, they're gunning for me. Yeah, and like I'm 1 mana short of playing this out, but this would be really good here. But I mean, there's kind of like okay, they got this, which deals cleanly with this. They already have Fatal Push in their hand, to our knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and... I can't draw a card because of this. Good games. All right, I hope people are commenting about that previously match. That was a hot mess. My goodness. Yeah, like I will stand by my decision not to Fatal Push when I have a deck full of Orcish Spellmasters and they have a single Kaito in their deck. It didn't feel right, but had I Fatal Push there, who knows what would have happened. My draw was not spectacular. Fatal Push is pretty terrible against their deck, frankly, because all their creatures, like our creatures, generate value. Yeah, it's a bad matchup for us, but it's not an atrocious matchup. Okay, let's reset. New game, round 4. Unknown opponent. This hand doesn't have a force in it. It does have a ponder. We could island ponder. I think it's keepable. If they waste it, it's a problem. I'm just going to be looking for a ponder and a force will, or another land and a force. I'm going to keep this in the dark. It's like a double Kaito hand. But we've got double brainstorm to put it back. I'm rolling to 6. This could be a very short game, but if this is a short game, we might actually be favored for games 2 and 3 because I do think we have like pretty good anti-combo tech. All right. Straight up ponder here. Looking for days, force. These are fine, assuming they don't have exactly wasteland. I think it is correct to... I mean, next turn we could even Thoughtseize them, which would be great. Everything crumbles if they have wasteland, but that's how it always is. All the people in the comments that are like, you shouldn't have fetched that basic land, you're playing scared and all this stuff. Well, here's a very real example. Okay, are we going to get punished? Okay, they seem to be on some form, most likely, whatever it's called, Stinking Show. And if that's the case, I feel pretty favored with this hand because we're about to Thoughtseize their best card and then probably wasteland them. And then next turn, I can brainstorm to hopefully find a land. Okay, they're on this deck. So this deck, we just take the Shardless Agent. They can suspend Crashing Footballs. Doesn't accomplish a lot. It is worth noting they do have a wasteland, so we're not going to be able to actually cast any spells here. So the real question is, do we want to waste them, knowing that they're about to waste us? So we took the Shardless. They have Endurance, Force. They have a second land. They can suspend Crashing Footballs next turn, but they can only do that if they play the Wooded Foothills. They can't do it off of Wasteland. So I'm going to hope that that's what they do. They could interpret me not wasting as, is it ever right here to waste? I mean, this doesn't directly do anything, but it does get them closer to doing stuff. If they just suspend Crashing Football, I'm not going to waste them. I'm going to hold it because we have Kaito. We have a lot of stuff that uses colorless mana. Okay, good. They're taking a turn to go ahead and suspend Crashing Footfalls. That's what I wanted to see. All right. So now we can brainstorm and hope to hit that sweet, sweet fetch. Come on, we got 9 of them in our deck. Actually, I think we just have 8. Oh, crushed. And now they know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what they need to do, which is waste us. It's interesting they chose not to suspend there. If they fetch a Surveil land that produces green, I am going to waste it. And my reasoning is that prevents them from suspending Crashing Footfalls. And then they're just in the dumps with us. I feel confident about this play. Because if they suspend the Crashing Footballs, that's really bad for us. Because then, like, every turn that we're, unable to do anything. Yeah, they know that we missed out on a land drop. Okay. So now Crashing Footfalls is stranded in their hand. They may get antsy about Murktide later, but I mean, we've got several turns of doing nothing in front of us. Fatal Push will be the discard here at the end of next turn, and then we will finally get a look at some fresh cards. They found another Wasteland, so we'll definitely get the basic island. There's the Kaito we knew about. Passing, we'll just discard Fatal Push. It really doesn't do anything but deal with one of the Crashing Footfall things. Maybe Bowmasters is actually worse. Bowmasters is pretty terrible against their deck. I don't want to discard a blue card just in case. But, I mean, Redundant Kaito is definitely something we could consider discarding here. Okay, now they have it. So we're going to force... Why did they do that? Oh, they actually exiled just to be able to suspend it. Okay, so it is in suspension. We can force it when it comes out later, but they'll almost certainly have a blue card by then. Land, please. This is the variable reward mechanism of Magic. Okay, so we get one shot at this. We're going to get one pass. We could brainstorm to accelerate finding the second land. That's not a good play, but it is a play we can make. We could get Tomio out so that when we do eventually break the lock, we have a whole bunch of clues. This has 4 turns, so we need to find more force effects 4 turns from now. Okay, so we could just Thoughtseize them here. Their hand is pretty well known. Well, not really. They have 2 unknowns. I think I do Thoughtseize and I take the force so that we have a more reliable way to... Yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm just going to hope, because statistically, like, we have 17 lands, 16 lands left in our deck. They're just choosing to waste now. That's fine. There's no strategic advantage to wasting during your opponent's turn after they've already tapped their land. I am going to take the force. Not concerned with the Simian Spirit Guide. I understand that that can lead to them cascading, but if we can stop even one of those, I'll be fine. Play to your outs, folks. All right, so this time I am going to go ahead and deploy Tomio. We'll start getting the clues, Kraken. Next turn we can Mystic Dispute. That's fine. That was their draw for turn. It won't be fine if they just rip another Wasteland. When we counter this, it will be a 2 for 2 since they use a Spirit Guide to put it out there, which isn't all that bad. Come on, keep those lands coming. I'm going to ponder to find a land. All right, we found a land. We also found a second force, which is going to go in my hand next turn. My opponent said, scrappy game, lol. And I 100% agree. I'm here for this. I like this matchup. It's tempo on tempo. Okay, I think we take the swamp now. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We can... Yeah, we need the swamp in order to cast the Strix. We have 2 more turns before Crushing Footfalls. I think we go ahead and just play the swamp out now. And then we will draw the Strix and cast it next turn. All right. And if they choose to like endurance this or something... Okay, one more. Them using the Mystical Dispute on that, like, I can agree with that because they didn't know what was coming. Okay, here's Shardless Agent, so I have to force this. Whatever comes out the other end of this, which is going to be a Crashing Footfalls. We'll force pitching a Kaito. All right. So they've got a 2-2. One that I cannot push yet. Now we're drawing the Strix. We're playing the Strix. Blue, black. This is a great card against their deck. And now we just, I think we force the Footfalls. We hold on to Kaito. We'll pitch the Brainstorm here. I do think we stop this. I think there's too big of a risk of us running out of life if it resolves. So now they can cast it. Okay. So they can cast it. It goes on the stack like a spell, right? Now we force it. Once we get Kaito out, if we can get him out, it's just going to be really powerful. I mean, I could say that at any point in most games. I'm not going to block this because I want to get Kaito Kraken as soon as we get a land, which could be as soon as next turn. Opponent's trying to decide whether to attack, but they should definitely attack here. They have Simian Spirit Guide, but they don't have a second green, so they're not going to be able to deploy. Oh, these are all cards revealed, but the actual cards that they have in hand, to my knowledge, are these 2. Okay, we're taking it. All right, can we get a land? Yes! Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. It's coming for a hug. It's always like so deflating when you're on the other side of this. Like we were last round, where you see somebody tapping and you're like, oh, they're just tapping their attack stuff instead of their block stuff. Like they're screwing up their Kaito thing going. Oh no, they knew to do it. They knew to do it because we tapped. Yep, we get it back. I'm fine with drawing another card. No big deal. I mean, technically we have Revolt now, so we can kill this, and I think maybe we should. Let's see what we draw first, though. Yeah, let's double check that we can hit that. So we'll do it. And if they have mana to deploy this next turn, we can push it too. We will have, no, we need another land. Okay, now they have endurance mana, which makes things a little trickier. Mockingbird, freaking insane draw. Just gonna do it. Boom, boom. Let's draw a card and get another flying Death Touchy creature that we can bounce this back to our hand, and we can use it to make a copy of endurance if we want. Baleful Strix, ding ding ding. Oh wow, that's cool too. That'll take this out of the sky. Let's come in for a hug. I don't care if they want to endurance. Like, I don't use my graveyard. They probably incept endurance here. They actually have 2 endurances in hand, I believe. So we're going to have to fight through those. Oh, they're playing this out. That's fine. I'll just let it hit me, and then I'll ping it with Bowmasters. Ah, they're scared. I like it. I should bluff Kaito more frequently, is what I'm reading from this. I mean, we could draw land. I'm going to try this. I don't think adding these to the board hurts. They do have Fury in their deck, though. Land. Another Mockingbird doesn't really help. I'm going to go in and hit them. If they block one of these, they do turn on Revolt. I think it makes sense to get our damage where we can. Yep. That was anticipated. They targeted themselves. Okay. Put 2 more of those Cascade cards in their deck. Just attacking with this. Oh, attacking with both. Gonna block here. And I'm tempted to just we could surveil to get a land, and then we could potentially hit that. I think that's okay. I don't want to use my Fatal Push yet if I can just ping this. Wow, we're just getting such good rips here. This does make me want to just play it. Land is the best draw. There it is. They've got 1 card in hand. We've definitely, and I think, do they use the Simian Spirit Guide? So the last card is an Endurance, I believe. Let's go ahead for a hug. I mean, they could rip, that Sharded Agent at any point and turn this game around. You might be saying I'm cavalier for not playing out the Kaito. I absolutely could have done that earlier. I just wanted to clear the board. Okay, that's fine. Targeting themselves again. They are putting a lot of fetch lands and stuff back in their deck, which are not very good at this point of the game. All right, they're hanging back. Defensive mode. I'm just going to attack with all these, and then I can Kaito. One of them should get through. I'll bring this back. This is more flexible than Strix. It costs the same amount of mana. I'm going to go ahead and just surveil here. Looking for Force. Force is perfect. I will take this Bowmaster just because it's more direct damage in case it comes to that. We actually can just get the surveil land here, but it's enough to turn on Revolt so that we can push. Yeah, I should have. Let's go ahead and just get rid of this. The game's over basically with Force. They would need a lot of things to line up. 13 minutes on the clock. This has been a very long game. I need to play quickly. If I force the front side, I don't have to worry about the back side. They could kill me now, actually. But I didn't want them to definitely have that body. They could attack. Looks like, they could have the card, but it's going to be coming in at instant speed, which means that I should plus this. Make sure it doesn't die in combat. Now it's a 4/5. They have to double block it. Yeah, if they Violent Outburst, it's going to suck. Okay. Let's go ahead and attack. Oh no, I freaking clicked through the attack again. I got distracted by them doing that thing. I'm just going to go ahead and Strix here. Wasteland. I will play it. This is not completely without consequence. Let's cut them off a blue source. Yeah, that was bad. That might actually give them an extra turn cycle. They have 8. I kick this up to 5 and I'm attacking for lethal unless they have interaction. What are the odds of them having interaction? All right. Wow. Yeah, I almost punted that by clicking through my combat. That was embarrassing. But we got it. Let's go to the next game. Is MTGO going to do this every time we sideboard? My goodness. Okay. You know, if it's going to be doing this, so like do card view. I saw Brian Cook doing this where he just shows all the cards. And then we can just further reduce their size a little bit. All right. So Hydroblast definitely comes in. Consign is very good against their deck because you can hit the triggers. Harbinger I think is reasonable because they do need other colors and their deck doesn't play that many basics. Let's bring in the cards we're definitely bringing in. Force Negation I think is worth bringing in. I think Consign's good. Cards that are bad here. I think Thoughtseize is pretty bad. They're an aggro deck. I'm going to cut all the Thoughtseize. I think Daze is... I mean, they're a Simian Spirit Guide type deck. We're on the draw. I don't think we want Daze. The fact that Consign can stop triggers, Fury, Cascade, lots of different types of triggers, I think makes it worth playing. We have to cut... I'm tempted to cut Fatal Push. Like, I understand that it can get rid of the tokens, but we can borrow those out of the play. Oh, we'll get rid of the non-spell bombs for sure. And yeah, I think we get rid of a couple of the Fatal Pushes. Let's do it. I feel very grateful that we were able to manage to finagle our way out of the double. I mean, this is a good keep if they don't have specifically Wasteland. I think I'm going to keep it. They do play 4 Wasteland though, so that this is risky. It is not assured, but if we find another land, we'll be in a good position. Crashing Footfalls exiled already. Okay, that's good to know about. I'm just going to play this and pass. They will likely waste us, in which case I will go ahead and use one of my Brainstorms to get a little bit deeper into my deck. But I'm not going to just sit still and do nothing here. Okay, they don't waste us. This is good. Shardless Agent is... I can just stop this Cascade trigger. Okay, you got a creature. I think that was correct. You could stop the cast from exile, I think, maybe, too. I'm not sure actually how that works. Let's go ahead and brainstorm here. Looking for land. We did find it. That's great. Cards that we don't really need. I don't think we need 2 Bowmasters. Bowmaster is nice because it can sneak in and take that out. I do like having the other Consign up just in case they go for it again. We can also consign the trigger. Yeah, I think I'm going to put these both back, and then I'm just going to play out a Tomio here. We'll draw one, and then I'll ponder and shuffle away the other one. I have a blocker for this. They do have fire in their deck, but I think it's probably worth it to prevent the 2 damage. Oh, they're not even attacking this, very honest. I could brainstorm first. Let's try brainstorming first. We can always ponder if we need to afterward. This is still 2 turns away. Okay, yeah, this is not... I don't really want these Bowmasters at all. They're good late game. And they're good because they can... Like, our opponent does play like Lorien Revealed and stuff like that, but it's not spectacular. I'd rather just force the Lorien Revealed. Can I find a fetch? Any order shuffle. All right. We're going to chill for a turn. Next turn we have... we can't Strix because we need to keep Consign mana up. But we can consign the actual... activate, like the actual Crashing Footfalls trigger. We just consign it twice, and they would need to have 2 forms of interaction. Consign's so good against this deck. Them attacking Tomio is not a big deal. 4 mana. Yay. I'm just going to plus... I think we just take it easy here. Make sure we have plenty of mana to interact. I'm just going to triple consign this Crashing Footfalls trigger. They can't play any Pyroblasts or Hydroblasts, which is really nice. Even though they're in the colors, they could play those because they would interfere with the Cascade. They found a Wasteland, which they binned. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I can stop this. Okay. Triple consigned. Yeah, I clicked it once, and I was like, oh, no. I just passed priority on that, but there's a second trigger. What are they doing here? It doesn't stop the replicate trigger. Wait. Where's the replicate trigger? I replicated twice. Am I crazy? How did the single force of negation stop the replicate trigger? Okay, well, we're going to pitch a ponder here. Wow, that is devastating. Yeah, I genuinely don't understand what just happened there. Now we're like super vulnerable if they have another Cascade trigger. I was not wanting to use that force for anything really. I'm just going to wait. When they attack next time, I'll Orcish Bowmasters and I'll ping it. I want to make sure to have lots of consigned mana up too. Worst case scenario, I can instep crack a clue. If somebody knows what happens with that replicate trigger, please let me know. It's driving me crazy. Force. And they paid. That is okay. I am happy to get a force out of your hand for that. All right, and Tamio continues to tick up and keep our opponent at bay. We're at a healthy 19 life here. Last card, what is it? Oh, yeah, they have refilled their hand. Again, like having that force in hand that I should have because I shouldn't have had to replicate. You know, the replicate should have stopped it for me. That would be really nice here. I can just have Mockingbird come in as a copy and I can get an ability. Is that worth it? I mean, it seems pretty good. They could just Cascade. Do I want to do the cute thing? They could cost me the game. I'm just going to play a Strix. This defends for a turn cycle, and then we can draw our deck and we can win pretty deterministically there. I say pretty deterministic as though there is such a thing. There's either deterministic or not deterministic. All right. Well, you have my block because I want to be able to draw my deck next turn. That's fine. Wow, that Mystical Dispute that Lorien Revealed must have come up really short if they're doing this. All right, let's go. Okay, so I like to sort my hand. I don't expect to lose this game, so I'm not going to worry about time anymore. So here we have, like, I'm going to move all my permission over here. I'll just play out lands because I don't want to have to remember or check whether I need to fetch. So I think our options are we can just kill one of these first with Bowmasters, and that also locks them out of a lot of their good top decks. So I'll just do that. Boom. We don't have like a frog in our deck anymore, so we don't have like a quick win. Black, blue. This also makes it very hard for them to cast like Lorien Revealed, which is one of their few outs at this point. Next turn we can Kaito, and we can just start plussing every turn. We don't need to draw cards. I think we may have another... Well, there we go, yeah. Oh, I know what I can do. I can just Bowmaster, ping it. Then I can Mockingbird to create a flying Bowmaster to ping it a second time. I love Mockingbird. This card's insane. Blue. It's not like insane, like overpowered, but it's insanely fun. Make a copy of this. We're just going to take the slow road to victory, but it is a sure one. Just force it. Pitch a Brainstorm. Force negation. It's okay to just force back. We'll pitch a Tamio. They have 0 cards in hand, taking a bunch of damage. I guess I could have just like fatal pushed it, but I don't think I have Revolt. They are passing. I'm not able to attack for Xaxes, unfortunately, unless I find another Hummingbird or Mockingbird. Should I find one? No. Wait, I can just Kaito and that'll give me Xaxes. Or more than Xaxes. They have 1 card in hand. I technically should have... oh wait, Revolt is turned on once we go to blocks. So I can Fatal Push if they put another Endurance out. So I just let this resolve and then I force the actual thing. And I can cast it on my turn by just paying the mana for it. I can't cast it for free. Now actually they survive a turn. Yeah, if I played out a land first, I could have killed them here. All right, well, we've got 5 minutes to finish the game, so I'm not too worried about it. We are out of forces. All right, good games. Final round, let's do it. We're 2-2. Final round, we're up against a Likely Storm player with a hand that includes both Thoughtseize and Force. Let's go. We have Strix that we can draw into. We can Brainstorm pitching the Strix if they are on Storm. It's probably better than casting it out. Savannah, not a... What? What the heck deck goes Savannah Petal? All right, no idea what they're on. Shall we check? I'm just going to grab... And one of the beauties is since we don't play days, we do play a single days, but we can't go ahead and have the luxury of just getting our basics right off the bat. Normally, you'd always want to get the dual just so you have days up. We've given very little about our deck away as well. Okay, so this is some sort of crazy packed deck. What is this? Enchant creature or vehicle. Enchanted permanent is a vehicle with crew 5 and loses all its other types. Okay. Gosh, I had to learn on the fly what they can do here. Orm's Chant is bad news because it stops force. Something tells me the Swift Reconfiguration is the card that we need to take. I'm not worried about Summoner's Pact because that is the last spell they'll cast. Well, actually, they could pay for it, can't they? For any green card. It's not going to be Protean Hulk. Okay. It does cost a lot of mana. I think this is a combo piece. The vibe I get is their deck can't easily find combo pieces. So we just have to get through this Orm's Chant. We'll find a second Thoughtseize. Orm's Chant is a good protection spell that white has available to it, though. It's not a great one, but it's a good one. I used to play it in Cephalid Breakfast back before Nadu got printed in. The deck just became pretty solved. There used to be a lot of Cephalid Breakfast variants going around. All right, so they played their land out. Caracas is... Oh, wow. We could just draw the best card in our deck. Let's do it. We can Surveil here. Yeah, I'm just going to... Like, all these cards are fine. None of these cards are bad. Now, I think we go for the Chant. Then they packed, and we can counter whatever they packed for. Caracas. Tomio's Frenemy. Surveil Trigger. If we can find something to close the game. Maybe some Kaito. Won't pass up that against a combo deck. Right. I think we go ahead and... I mean, we could hit a Wasteland, I guess. Let's go and do it this way. Draw trigger. Bowmasters probably doesn't do anything against their deck. I'll play the land, I'll pass. Double force up. This is fine. We can just force whatever they get. Card disadvantage. Okay, Sylvan Library. Let's go. Yep. You can have your Sylvan Library. No problem. Land drop. Love to see it. I'm just going to play it out now. There's no point in like trying to surprise them or anything with this. Not that I know of. Let's go ahead and go in for our hug. I mean, we could just increase our ranks with the Strix. We're going off double force, but what are the odds they go off this turn with 2 cards? I mean, they could just draw a bunch of cards that they could just ignore Bowmaster, and maybe this Brainstorm is good. Yeah, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to be patient. Getting the extra damage on the board every turn is not a big deal. They may give me a bunch of extra damage here. All right. They're drawn right into it. So we do have to be cognizant of the fact that they may have like some anti-force tech like a Shepherd, and that can wreck our day. So let's not get cocky here. Just because we're against the green-white combo deck that doesn't really have much in the way of protection doesn't mean we can't die. We're facing the unknown, and whenever you're facing the unknown, there's a certain element of danger. Yeah, I'm not going to try to be mana efficient. I'm just going to... Okay, this is good. An additional beater we can deploy. I am going to deploy the Strix now that we have a second blue card. Another Strix. We could deploy this too. Just to up the clock a little bit. I'm not sure that matters. I think I will. We could potentially draw a Wasteland or something like that. Hopefully I'm not like making some critical mistake. Another Bowmasters will be good next turn and probably basically assure that we win. So they can't draw extra cards off of the Sylvan, but they can look at them. But the act of looking at them does cost them, life and Bowmaster pings, Bowmaster amasses. So if they choose to do it again, I think it'll be their last turn. Lightning Tutoring again. They may have some like Solitary Confinement type card that like gives them a few extra turns to win. Okay, Swift Reconfiguration. So there must be some creature that pairs with Swift Reconfiguration where being able to untap it, let's see, I have no idea, crew 5. So they have to win now. So what you're telling me is playing out these extra Baleful Strixes didn't really matter, and we could have been a little more conservative. Even though we're likely to win, I like to win with as much margin as possible, which is why I'm still tilted about the Replicate not working on our Consign last game. Okay, Devoted Druid. So this gives them infinite mana. So this is a force in my mind. I mean, we could just force the reconfiguration. I don't think there's any risk here. They can untap this infinitely. But I think as long as we have double force, I think it's okay. I'll pitch the Borrower here. I don't think there's going to be another turn. Because if we counter that, then they could just pact for another one. Okay, good. It's going to do this every game. Come on, Wizards. Or I guess Daybreak is now in charge of this. Okay. Maybe if I like restart or something, this will get fixed, but okay. So, creature combo. We know they're pretty glass cannony by the fact that they're playing pacts. You don't play those in, decks that want to play a fair game or a long game. Force Negation probably comes in. I think we do keep the Fatal Push. My reasoning is that Fatal Push does cleanly answer a lot of those things. Harbinger could be good. They play a lot of non-basics. I don't think Consign's worth bringing in. I didn't see any reason to bring it in. They may play something like Greenstone Zenith, but I didn't see it. I think the cards that come out are probably combat-oriented cards. Oh, I'll just take out the 2 Nile Spell Bombs. There we go. I think that's fine. Substitution-wise, I don't need to do anything more. We'll learn more about their deck. Okay, this hand's fine. It's got Waste to Disrupt. It's got Daze, which, it's kind of like the 5th Force of Will. I always like to think for a minute. They open Marsh Flats. It's a good fetch. We have Surveil. So I'll just Surveil off this. I don't expect playing non-basics to factor into this game. Okay, Lush Portico. So I'll probably waste next turn just to keep Strix live, or keep Daze live. It may actually make more sense to go ahead and Strix. Because Strix is a path to Kaito, and Kaito is a path to closing the game quickly. My instinct is to Daze this, but they probably have Elvish Spirit Guide. I think we just force. We pitch Kaito. I was just talking about how great it is to have a fast path to closing the game. And now I'm pitching it. Yeah, there's the Spirit Guide. Okay, they had Veil. So let's go ahead and... I'm going to get the Surveil land. I'm not going to use it immediately. I don't need this mana for anything. I just want to try to find another force here. Huh. Now we don't actually need to counter it because Bowmasters deals with it. But I don't want them to draw the card off of Veil. And there is a possibility they could clear this. I'm going to go ahead and still Daze. I'm just going to put it in our graveyard. And then we're going to Daze here. And we're going to hope that they don't have yet another Spirit Guide. That would be catastrophic because they'd have everything. And if they have another Spirit Guide, we'll just accept that we probably lost the game. That's a relief. Now I think we just waste to hope to disrupt them a little bit. Drew another force. Perfect. Cut them off. White is more important of the 2 colors is my intention. My suspicion is part of the combo. I don't know what blue's for. Wow, they don't have another land. Yeah, I think the line we took was very important. Had we Dazed, they just would have Spirit Guided, and we wouldn't have gotten all the equity. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back for doing what I did there. Thoughtseize, absolutely stay on top. Next turn we can Thoughtseize and we can Tomio to get an engine going. They could have another Veil. If they have a Veil, I'll live with it. Actually, I might force the Veil because it denies them a card and it gets their best card out of their hand. All right, let's take a look. So, Devoted Druid is the combo piece. We'd have to take both of those. I think we probably just take one and we force the other. They don't have white, so they can't use either of these. But they could draw it. But I am going to go ahead and play out Tomio. So apparently once they get infinite mana, they just create a giant walking ballista. They may have another card that's like functionally the same as Devoted Druid, so they can have more than 4 of those. Okay, they found white. We've got nothing else going on. But I guess it's okay. It's a 1-for-1. Now they can start Enlightened Tutoring. It's interesting they decided not to just Enlightened Tutor there. Let's go ahead and let's see them first. I'm going to take the Devoted Druid. I don't think they can. I don't think they can get anything particularly dangerous here, and it'll give us a turn cycle anyway. So I am going to go ahead and just Strix. I want forward momentum, at least to do some damage to them, because every damage we do to them. Oh, they could like Walking Ballista to kill it. That's fine with me. I just want the card and to dig deeper. I might just rip a land and like be off force and feel like a fool, but I want to advance my game plan. All right, Tomio's great. Their hand is Walking Ballista and a card disadvantage spell, Enlightened Tutor. They found it. How bad is this for us? It's pretty bad. I'm going to force it. This does leave us super vulnerable. I'm not going to show them that I have nothing. They'll probably instep Enlightened Tutor. If they have another Sylvan Library, that would maybe make sense. I'm going to set a stop in my own end step. So after they Enlightened Tutor, then I can decide which color I want to hit. They have to reveal it, so we'll know. This will also prevent them from ballisting, so we can just hit them 19 more times, 17 more times, and then, yeah. Okay, they are passing. Gosh, I'm so tempted to deny them. I don't think we do. I think we wait and see what they do here during their upkeep, which is their last step before they can put cast the Enlightened Tutor. Okay, they're not going to use it. They don't know whether we're going to waste. I'm going to wait until, I guess, my next turn cycle. I wanted to get information, but I didn't get any. It's possible that we rip like a force and we have hardcast force up. That would be pretty sweet. That would be a reason not to waste. I'm not going to waste now. I will wait until I have more information. Right. I think the thing to do is just to ponder initially. Do we find we can keep more than one of these cards, but we're going to keep 0. Yeah, I'm not liking that ponder at all. So that's pretty good. Let's ponder again. Looking for Bowmaster. That would make me feel better. There's a Bowmaster. There's a Wasteland too. Gosh, I think we just waste both their lands. I think I'm going to go ahead and hit this. They're going to be forced to float, and maybe they search for something. Oh, they didn't use it. Wow. They're like, okay. Do they have like LED in their deck or something? How are they planning to win? I guess that there's no point in them Enlightening Tutor. Okay, they did find a land. All right, so now we draw our Bowmaster. That speeds up our clock quite a bit. Then we have Tomio following. I will play this out. Yeah, Bowmaster does ping Ballista can ping our Bowmaster, which can then, so if they Enlighten Tutor for yet another, they're going to do so not knowing that we have the answer. I'll wait to the end step, and I am going to go ahead and play this out just for damage. They managed to rebuild their mana base very quickly. Now we draw Tomio. Hope they're not playing like Wrath of God or something over there, because we've got a lot of creatures. I mean, like a giant Ballista would basically be Wrath of God. Like if they get the combo, even if they don't have any, well, if they get the combo, we're dead because of, yeah, I'm going to play this out. Cards on the table. Just F6 through their turn. They might have some sort of like spell in their deck that just like kills all our creatures. Like -1. I mean, yeah. Getting this spinner. I think it's just because they're thinking. Okay, they're back. They're fetching to 19. So it looks like, yeah, no idea what they're doing here in step. They can do tricks with like Orm's Chant to keep themselves alive by preventing us from being able to attack and stuff. I think they're probably just going to poke our Bowmaster. That would make sense. Just playing it out. I'm going to attack all. Okay, interesting. They're just attack. They're going to block and then they're going to ping. Yeah, so they don't have to take as much damage. That makes sense. Okay. So post-combat, we can brainstorm, flipper. I think that is worth doing. All right, we can put the push back for sure. I think we can also push. Oh, we could actually crack, draw, and then we could fetch away the push, and we can get both of these cantrips. I think that's fine. I'll just wait to do that until later. It's worth noting that when we crack this clue, we'll draw a brainstorm, and then we could even shuffle brainstorm into a force if we absolutely need it. It's unlikely that that would work, but that might work. We do have 4 more force effects in the deck. Yep, we got it. So that was a clean 2-0. I didn't feel really in danger at all during that match. Nice. I always like to kind of end on the more easygoing ones. But that league was home to, I'm serious, one of the best games I've ever played. I certainly felt like it in the moment from my side. So, I mean, the deck feels insane. What can I say? Like, Days has not felt great for me recently since the bannings. I've just kind of like, I think this is kind of like a pseudo tempo mid-range. Oh, this isn't the deck. Hang on. Mockingbird was great. It really showed up in the Cascade matchup. The Grixis control match, I think that's probably a 50-50 matchup. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like a 45-55. We definitely got smoked completely. I think Delver is probably a 50-50 matchup. Like on any given Sunday. Who knows what's going to happen, especially when they have freaking blind flips and other things. Well, it's not always like, it's one thing to complain about blind flips off counterbalance, but you know, that's just how counterbalance works. It's like arbitrarily kind of like a luck card. So you can't be upset when somebody actually constructs their deck to have a whole bunch of 1-drops and then they take advantage of the fact that there are a lot of 1-drops by playing counterbalance. So no ire or anything intended for my opponent there. It's just I'm not a huge fan of the card. Like, I don't think it's very good, but it's also really frustrating to play against. So maybe that's like a reason to play it, just like Comet, right? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get anything from it. Comet's just going to hurt himself a bunch and then go away or create some little squirrels. But sometimes your opponent just rolls 6 3 times in a row and the game's over. I'm definitely looking forward to running this list back. I'll probably run back the exact 75. Yeah, Mockingbird, I think, you know, it might be a one-of, but it felt really good for sure, and it's fun. That's something I optimize for. Kaito, fun. Nethergoyf, not as fun. Mockingbird, fun. Murktide, not as fun. All right, so I hope you enjoyed. Hope you're going out there having a great time testing different archetypes. I know a lot of people tuning into the Be Excellent channel are watching, you know, primarily Delver videos. A lot of people like the Stifle Knot videos. A lot of people do like the more dirtily control stuff like this. I plan to keep the mix coming. So until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.